So thanks. So everyone is talking about digital transformation since morning, right? So for me, digital transformation in simple language is it makes life simpler, right, with the help of AI and ML technologies. Today I'm going to talk about the network which is SDN driven and AI enabled and how the same can help IT leaders like CIOs and CISOs because IT is always has been a cost center for organization. When it comes to spend, organization always look at IT, less spend, right? So how with less resources you can effectively utilize the network, create an intelligence network, which I'm going to explain in my subsequent slides. Before that, how many of you knows that Chandrayaan-3 uses which network? The satellite launch pad, because everyone we are talking about now Chandrayaan-3 Mohim, right? So since digital transformation done by applications and applications runs on intelligent network, right? So we are very proud to announce that again, the satellite launch pad of India running on successfully from last 10 years plus on allied Telesis, where entire from PSLV, SLV part is intelligently managed and automated by allied Telesis network. So there are there are many organizations, each vertical, where allied Telesis is instrumental for digital transformation of their network, security, right? So what I'm going to do is, because everyone knows about our large biggest brand, right? So I'm going to cover how with allied Telesis we can create simple, agile, secure, and flexible network. So Allied Telesis is a Japanese company. We headquartered in Tokyo, right? So we are into an end-to-end SDN-driven AI-enabled network and security provider. We started in 1987. We are almost a 37-year-old organization. We are older than one of the biggies which are there in the market. So the reason behind, you will see the revenues, and most of you have not heard about our brand. Since my company believes into the philosophy of creating everything on over, starting from R&Ds, manufacturing, so you'll be surprised, we are the only company who has a manufacturing plant in Singapore, where most of the companies in current scenario talking about 3 months, 4 months, 5-month delivery. We are giving deliveries in weeks. Since we are not dependent on only one chipset, which is Broadcom, we also have to Marvel chipset, so we work on the heterogeneous chipsets. So globally, we have 1,700 employees, almost 700 R&D centers, 160 plus patents. So some of the patents are very interesting in the areas of wired and wireless, which I will explain in my subsequent slides. 2 factories which I mentioned. So this is a glance of our solution offering. So end-to-end solution starts from core, access. In core, we'll have chassis-based switches or fixed form factor switches, where you will get the ports of 1G, 10G, 40G, 100G, and you will get the same flavor in when you rack mountable or TOR switches too. Again, we are the, you can say, pioneers and one of the largest deployment base of industrial grade switches too. So we have again industries, you can say AI-enabled wireless controller or wireless. So some of the USPs which I explained in the booth, as well as I'll explain in now my subsequent slide, how the same can help you to run your businesses, get your best performance for your applications, and still you can reduce your TCO when you are looking for the unified networks. An entire solution will be managed and operated by a single SDN controller. So the USP of Allied Telesis in current scenario, if you talk about any networking solution, you require minimum 2 to 3 controllers. Wherein in Allied Telesis, you have just one SDN controller which can take care of routing, switching, wireless, you can say security, which is firewall, and part of zero trust solution. And the beauty is that if you are a technical expert or system admin guy, learn Allied Wireless Plus, he will be expert on all the 5 domains. And the beauty is that again our command line is similar to the one of the leading vendor. In morning session, my colleague has explained the 5 causes of network, right? So I'll not focus on that, but how Allied Telesis will efficiently help to take the visibility of the same and help you to take the actions with these 5 pillars of our solution. So as I explained, we have a centralized management, which will help you, as soon as you connect to a network, automatically discover all the IP devices which are connected to network. It can create a topology. For that, you don't require any third-party NMS software. This will happen on the SDN controller itself. So through that topology, let's say you have 15 branches, or let's say some of the customer I made on my booth, so they are talking about 100 warehouses, 15 manufacturing plant, right? So if your team sitting in Delhi and you want to operate and manage entire warehouses, manufacturing plant across India or globally, yes, we can help you to do the same on cloud as well as on premise with the unique features of AI and ML, which will help your life very easy or simpler. Single pane of glass, auto provisioning. So this is again very interesting features which we have, auto provision and auto discovery, wherein today when I met most of the CIOs and CISOs while interacting since morning, when I asked the question, in current scenario, let's say your production is gone down or switch gets RMA, how much time will it take to recover the switch or restore the access point? The answer was minimum 1 hour, minimum 30 minutes for access point. What if I will tell you with Allied Telesis wired and wireless solution, right? So if you are sitting in Delhi, your warehouse is in, let's say, Kerala, or let's say for that matter, northeast location, you can just communicate the guy over there, any office guy, just plug in the cable in the access point or switch. Automatically, entire switch configuration firmware will be automatically restored. There is no manual intervention. Not even you have to go to the console and push the policy. It will be automatically taken care in less than 7 minutes. So which is, you will save huge cost on the uptime. And forget about downtime. So I will explain the feature. Before switch gets RMA, we'll give you alerts. There are 30 parameters, which I will explain in subsequent slides. So AMA Plus is our software platform, autonomous management framework. It will help you to manage and do orchestration on your LAN platform. So the beauty of Allied Telesis is this AMS platform, which comes as in one module in the SDN controller, is 24/7. It monitor your network. So through that, it come to know, let's say there are 30 parameters. Why switch gets failure, right? Maybe because CPU utilization gone up, packet loss has increased, or you have a lot of policies which are those. So it will automatically give alert to your system guy, okay, this particular switch from this location has issue, you will get alert. If you can take corrective action, automatically that bar becomes green. All right. So you will get a proactive alert, predictive analysis for wired, wireless, SD-WAN, all the devices in the network. So that before getting into RMA, you can take the necessary action so that your production uptime will be taken care. I will explain auto provision part. Now, third is plug and play. I explained zero-touch provisioning. We are the true zero-touch provision solution provider. When you talk about zero-touch provisioning, today, if you see any vendor data sheet, you will see a zero-touch provisioning. So, but when you are actually trying to do zero-touch, so you require DNS, you require DSCP, you require minimum firmware upgradation for the switch or access point. In our case, if there is a RMA or there is an issue in the switch, you have to just replace 24-port switch if it's a PoE with 24-port PoE switch, or access point is a 4x4, you have to replace with the equal model, right? Automatically, SDN controller will take care of the entire setup in less than 7 minutes. So it's actually true zero-touch provisioning we are talking about. Click and run. This is again a very interesting feature because most of the time when we are configuring QoS or ACL, we configure the same on distribution, core, and access. And trust me, it's a very tedious task. Most of the time when you are rolling out any application or ACL or QoS, what if I'll tell you, don't look at all the 3 layers, just log into my SDN controller, select the source and destination and application, and publish. Your entire ACL QoS will be deployed across all 3 layers. across all 3 layers. So this is the preventive IDLX sheet I was talking about. So you will get this particular, all these parameters which are there here. So if there is an issue into packet loss, you can take the action. Automatically, once you take a preventive action, that a particular issue will be resolved in advance. This is I was talking about AI-based click and run policy implementation of ACLs and QoS. Just select the source and destination, select the services and deploy. Now I'll focus on the most important aspect of our current digitized network, which is wireless. Because wireless has been always a difficult topic compared to wired, because there are a lot of issues when you deploy wireless, because there is RF spectrum management, there is channel interference, you need to take care of seamless connectivity. You should get the, throughout your campus, the performance of the output or the wireless access point. So there are so many parameters. Unlike switch, once you have connectivity, copper or fiber, it's taken care, right? Wireless always complex topic. So wherein, with Allied Telesis autonomous wave controller, which is AI-enabled controller, where we are talking about some of the USPs. So we have patent, as I communicate, we have patent called as again game theory. So in game theory, what happens is, our controller 24/7 manages all the RF spectrum. For example, you are configuring wireless on channel, let's say 2.4 gigahertz. There are 3 bands, like channel 1, channel 6, channel 11. So out of this channel, my controller will communicate to access point through a 24/7 monitoring data. Okay, you should use, in our scenario, you should use channel 1 and channel 11, because since we have 24/7 data with AIML, if you want to deploy an application, it will recommend all access point, deploy that application on channel 1 on channel 11. Where in other computation, what happens is, if you deploy a wireless solution, it will recommend you as there is a snapshot of data, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 3 o'clock. Channel 1, channel X. So how it help you, or how it important from the business point of view? Once you deployed wireless, and if you have done the wrong selection of channel, it will affect your performance. It will create a lot of interferences, right? So channel blanket is again a technology which is patented by Allied Telesis. Though a couple of OEMs do the same for small networks through manually. So this predominant technology will help you in the verticals of, let's say you are talking about enterprise, VIP areas, because a lot of times CEO or MD wants seamless network without any issues on that particular floor. In manufacturing plant, there are customers who wants robot to be seamlessly done their job in the warehouses. In hospital, there are computer and wheel technology or application which needs to deploy and roam across hospitals. In warehouses, there are handheld devices or barcode scanner, right? So how it help all this vertical? In channel blanket technology, we configure all these devices which are connected to access point on single channel. So throughout the entire, let's say this entire hall is there are 10 access points. If I roam from one access point to two, third, fourth, I'll be connected on single channel, which is channel 1. Wherever I go, unlike multi-channel scenario, if I roam some access point, it will be a 30 channel, 32, 36. It avoids channel interference and signal handoff. So we can deploy both hybrid as well as single channel based on your use cases. Now let's say you have done site survey in wireless, right? And then based on that site survey, you have done, let's say, heat map, and you have done deployment of wireless. And through my controller, you come to know that, okay, in this entire area, this particular area has a black spot, but you have completed already cabling and everything, right? So how can you extend the coverage, right? So in that scenario, we have something called as wireless plug and play connectivity, direct attached wireless, wherein that you have to just connect access point. You don't require any cable. It will work with all other access point and extend the coverage. So this will make sure that your entire dark areas or coverage will be taken care. Yeah. So this is a very important point from the Allied wireless point of view. So in Allied Telesis, because most of the customer who met in morning, they were saying how you are different from Meraki, how you are different from Aruba, how you are different from, let's say, Cisco classic solution. So this is a very good USP which we have. So once we deployed the entire wireless solution, there are 5 parameters. On that we create Pentagon, right? That Pentagon is a combination of channel availability, client capacity, connection stability, Wi-Fi signal, and airtime capacity. So if you deploy entire wireless, this is your entire area. So at each level, you can click and see, let's say, what is the comfort level. If that comfort level is 77 and the Pentagon is in full shape, you can see that your network is in perfect shape. If there are issues, in any of the issues, let's say, for example, channel connectivity has issue or performance has an issue, right? Through RCA, you will come to know that, okay, which is the parameter. And if everything is working, still your user is complaining, I am not getting the wireless, then the device which he is connected to wireless access point has issue. So this makes your life simpler. Now you will say that, okay, Dattatray, these particular features are available in most of the OEMs. Yes, maybe they are available, but I am talking about this particular feature on-premise solution as well as in cloud solution. So most of the time, most customers are in, you can say, confused state where they say, okay, whether shall I go for the cloud or shall I go for on-premise? In our case, we recommend if you are going for on-premise, no worry. Tomorrow, after 2-3 years, you want to decide to go to cloud, simply change the licensing, same devices, same hardware, you can connect to the cloud. This is the biggest USP of Allied Telesis. Again, our licensing is very simple. Only there are 2 licenses, channel blanket, if you want this particular seamless connectivity, or AP license to connect to the controller. There are no hidden licensing. And the beauty is that if you take a channel blanket solution, right? So I'll explain one of the major use case for manufacturing, healthcare vertical, or enterprises. So real-time device tracking, right? So this has been there from last 6 to 7 years, this particular features. So what I'm going to talk about now is, so generally, if you talk about any of RTLS solution, they point out 3 access points. Based on that, they will decide the location of the object or person or the device which has a barcode scanner, right? What happens now, if there is an obstacle between 2 APs, there is obstacle. So you will not able to find out exact location of that particular object, right? So you will not. So in our Allied Telesis case, with the help of vector-based area detection, we deployed access point. On all deployed access point, create small triangles, and even if there is an issue in one of the obstacle in other 2 access point, still you will get the accuracy of device location as 1 meter. This is the highest which we are talking about on access point itself. So there are vendors who claim that we'll give 1 meter. They will be with the help of BLE in the cloud. We have checked. Your most famous vendor, you can check again. So they are talking about 3.5 meter accuracy or 10 meter accuracy when you have if and then policies deployed. This is a very good USP when we are talking about manufacturing plant, you want to track. And for this, you don't require any additional licenses. If you talk about any competition, they have spaces, you need to take an entire solution. If you have to deploy the same in manufacturing plant, because most of the customer I met, they are from manufacturing vertical. If you want to deploy a real-time location tracking in the, let's say, a 50 acres manufacturing plant or 100 acres manufacturing, trust me, your RTLS licensing or cost will be start from minimum 30 to 40 lakhs, wherein we are talking about it will comes by default in the channel blanket solution if you opted for. There is no hidden cost, it will be covered in that, and with accuracy of 1 meter. So the last part which I'm going to cover is zero trust solution, wherein in morning, my colleague Mr. Subhashish Gupta, he was communicating you should have a zero trust solution, right? So now, zero trust can't be achieved with one vendor. There are vendors in the industries who are claiming, okay, we'll have end-to-end solution. But you can achieve zero trust only when you have integrated or coordinated threat control with all the cyber security vendors. Now what happens is, today everyone is using SIEM solution. But SIEM solution will help you to collect the logs and tell you there are thousands, 2,000 or 3,000 security incidents, right? CISO has to look for, okay, there are false positive as well. Now they have come up with SOAR solution industry, right? But SOAR solution, what exactly do? Okay, The alerts are now reduced from 4,000 to less than 10, and we'll able to block as well. But the primary condition is this solution will work very good if you have SIM solution in place, right? And if you talk about the deployment where the users are 500 and 100,000, the costing will start from 1 crore, right? Whether it is feasible, because CISO has to take a conscious call, the investment on security versus the business outcome, because you can't have security, you can't define the business outcome based on the security, right? And you can't have 100% security. You can always raise the bar towards 100. So what we are talking about in AMFSec, which is Autonomous Management Framework Security Solution, what happens? You have firewalls, but firewalls will able to detect and mitigate at perimeter level. You have antivirus, which will detect and mitigate your internal threat with a signature. You have WIF solution, which will detect and mitigate at AP level if you have signature for that, right? You have NAC solution, which will only detect the threat, will not apply the policy for blocking. So what we are going to do is, so at Allied Telesis, we have done integration with SNMP and other parameters with 30 plus industries leader from cybersecurities, be it Palo Alto, Fortinet, Forescout, QRadar, you name any OEM, most of them are covered over this, right? See why they have integrated with Allied Telesis? Because we are not competing with them. We have done this integration so that we can achieve coordinated threat control. Now let's take example of manufacturing plant. What happens in manufacturing plant? You have this SCADA networks, IoT devices, OT devices, cameras, right? But you will able to achieve security on these particular devices. You can't deploy, you have to do security, right? You have to secure them, but you can't deploy antivirus. You can't deploy any of the agent to protect them. So how will you achieve? So what we are saying is, let's say there is an attack on the camera or there is an attack on the APs and it reach the network by escape by WIP solution on any other devices. But since you have other third-party solutions, which is the firewall or QRadar or NAC, they will detect this particular attack and give the intelligence to my controller. My controller will see that particular intelligence and will block that particular port in next 1 second. We have seen the customer who deployed that. With absence of that, their production was down, let's say for 1 hour, one of the customer into tire manufacturing. So you will see this 1 hour, thousands of tire they couldn't manufacture. You can just calculate the, you can say loss because of the system was down. Wherein what we are saying is, if you have these particular things, we will, it's up to you whether to block that production network or OT network or just based on the alert which you have received, take the necessary action. Because we are going to enforce the policy through open flow at switches and access point once we get the alerts from all the security vendors. So once you done this particular exercise, you will get a dashboard where you will see which are the infected devices, why they have blocked, what was the action taken, and what was the source, what was the destination. You will get all the information in AMFSec controller. So the beauty is that all these modules which I am talking about, it will come as a single SDN controller. You have to manage and operate from that. You don't require 5 guys to manage that, especially in manufacturing plant where they have to look after OT as well as you can say network. And when we are talking about Industry 4.0, right, where data and OT networks are going to converge, right, these particular solutions will make a lot of sense when you are doing digital transformation or smart factory. The last slides. So this was the controller which I was talking about, Vista Manager EX. You can have this controller deployed on hardware, you can have dedicated appliance, or you can deploy the same on the virtual instance. It will take care of entire LAN, WLAN, and cybersecurity with single dashboard, single OS. Thank you. If any of you have any queries, let me know, or we can discuss the same at our booth. Thank you.